And welcome back to the Arizona Cardinals 20-year rebuild. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. As the Arizona Cardinals are coming off of another fantastic regular season, ultimately, I believe we won a playoff game and then we lost. We got back to the playoffs we were one and done. The offense struggled. But again, we were able to get back to the postseason, get back to the winning column, but we're entering into year 19, ladies and gentlemen. We have this episode and then next episode, and that's it for the Cardinals. So 2 more years for this team trying to get to the championship. And we have a major decision to be made today. Quarterback Will Brittley needs a new contract. He's 33 years old, he's played 11 seasons. We drafted him first overall out of Arizona. And throughout his whole career, he has been a very good quarterback. His first 2 seasons a bit turnover prone, but then showed off his arm, got his big extension, and just continued to produce. In reality, the question is, are we going to be extending Will Brittley to a long-term contract or even a short-term? Will he be basically our quarterback for this episode and next episode? We have other decisions to be made. You know, we have also Deion Fitzpatrick, same draft class as well as our franchise quarterback, is our number 1 corner. You know, these are 2 very pivotal moves that we need to be, that we're going to have to make today. You know, we also have a starting guard in Johnson. We have a couple role players. We have to figure out the running back position as well. Bobby Summers, who's 33 years old, also from the same draft class as Will Brittley. And you know, you have a 33-year-old veteran tight end. We just drafted the kid. Could he play? And, you know, down the line here, no one else to really highlight besides a couple other players. Yeah, this has been the question that I've been pondering for a while now, is what do we do with Will Brittley? So, you know, kind of how I look at things is from a very simple perspective. You know, we can go in this offseason giving all of our money to Will Brittley and saying, we have the team, we can suffer losing a couple players, and will take us over the top. But I think we're in a position where I don't really trust that. We have tried. So, are we going to be saying goodbye to Will Brittley? That's going to be in a few moments. We have talent across this team. Kevin Taylor, who I drafted a year ago, posted up 1,000 yards in a Rookie of the Year campaign. So we know we have 2 top wide receivers. Throw in JJ Jackson. You know, this running back room, we have a couple young guys that we could develop, but running back is going to be a need regardless. Guard won't be because, you know, we have Jimmy here that would step right in. Either way, I think that this team is still very good, and if you take Fitzpatrick out, we still have Dorsett, Lives, and CJ Stroud here, who I drafted also in the first round a year ago. Don't forget, we have Corey here playing on these 1 linebacker spots with Cadwell. I think our defense is very secure. I do think we could afford to lose Deion Fitzpatrick. Then this could be like a McKinney type of decision where he's just a little too old, and you know, he's not gonna produce as we need, but who knows? Looking at retirements, right off the rip, we see Tyrone McKinney, who I signed in free agency, had an outstanding career. Chase Green, who played for us for a long time and left, came back, and signed with the Vikings. He retired as well. We see Walter Atkins here. He was a top running back for a while for around the franchise. I don't know if I went through this in the last episode. Lawrence House, one of the top quarterbacks that was drafted. Carl Vincent here, who's always been a solid receiver. Larry Forbes, who was a part of that decision to either draft Deion Fitzpatrick or him. Max Robinson, he was a top defensive tackle for a while. We see both Cole Beckham here and Alan Williams. Beckham was a first-round pick for us, top pass rusher, left for a few seasons, came back for a few, but they're both retired as well. And let's see if there's anyone else down the board here that was on our team. I am not seeing anyone just yet. So I think, these guys are all spot starters, probably had opportunities, just never really fulfilled. We see Mike Tomlin retire as well. So guys, let's go into this new campaign. What's going to be our quarterback situation? We have $112 million. And Will Britley wants a 2-year, $158 million. That would essentially kill the rest of our cap. Even if I extended him by 5 years, we would have about 40. I think that would be a little bit more ideal for us. But I think first and foremost, I want to make decisions on the roster before making a choice on Will Britley. So Sean Kidd, picking up this 5th-year option for him. Johnson here, I'm going to let test. Fitzpatrick here, we'll come back to him. Brandon Meredith, I would like to keep him over Laws, and I want to give him a 3-year deal. He resigns. So we have our top running back now signed. Laws here, I think the only way that I would give him a contract is if I use the tag on him. So for now, we'll forget about him. I am going to try to bring back Bobby Summers. And he signs the 2-year extension, essentially solidifying him as a starter, potentially for the next 2 seasons. Down the board here, we're going to be letting everyone else test. So we have, same thing with Bryant here. He's a solid receiver, but I think we have other receivers that are good, or just as good or even better. For Fitzpatrick here, this would not guarantee him playing the whole franchise with us. A 2-year deal would. Do I think that Fitzpatrick will stay on top? We have we have a young corner that we'll also have to extend in Michael Dorsett. I think that we can afford to lose Fitzpatrick. Not going to do anything just yet. So for Will Britley, I am going to offer him this contract. There's a couple reasons I'm going to do this. As much as it would be fun for us to having to try to develop a quarterback, I doubt that we would make any sort of progress over the next 2 seasons. And we need to be aggressive, need to get the best players on the team. So a 5-year, $396 million contract has been offered, and Will Britley wants to test free agency. He is sick and tired of being one and done, and he's saying this franchise is the reason for it. The franchise tag would be $66 million, leaving us with about 40 to work with. And due to the fact that Will Britley just denied us, I am going to do that real quick. He denied us. I'm going to be offering now a 2-year contract to Fitzpatrick. Actually, no. I'm going to give him a 1-year deal. Prove to me he stays. I'm not going to let top-end talent leave. So this is now, I guess, the question. Do we want to go into next season trading away Darren Laws, because we could tag him, and then use the rest of this money, maybe make a couple other trades, try to go after Will Britley in open free agency and kind of risk it? Or do we tag him, essentially giving us about, what, 13, 14 million dollars? Like I said, for my justifying trying to extend Will, I'm gonna justify franchising tagging him, leaving us with $14 million. I am not gonna be tagging Darren Laws. We could make a couple trades or cuts, but I think that this is what's best for the team. And here's open free agency. James Orr, top safety, is out there. Hugh McGriff is out there. Chris Leave, he's the top quarterback, with Nick O'Neal out here. Brandon Hall. Top end players. Sean Jackson here, quarterback. I mean, we see a lot of top end talent out here. I don't know if I'm going to be making any sort of contracts. I might make a trade or two right now. Don't forget, guys, we have the 25th overall pick, which also played a factor in me tagging Will. We could not go into this season without a franchise quarterback. Just, that's my opinion. And I have made a trade here, sending Lawrence Shinley here, a defensive tackle, trading him for 2 fourths. There are a few players. I don't think we're going to be making any other trades. The debate in my head is, you know, we due to the fact that we gave the tag to Will Britley, this essentially means that, you know, we're probably going to be going into this. We could go into this off-season traded away a player like Cameron Wall. We could save about $7 million by probably trading him, getting a top-end pick for the best center. Another player that we could look to trade would be Darian Smith, entering into the last year of his contract. And, you know, we just brought him in, but could he just be a one-and-done type of defensive tackle? I think that would save us about $17 million. DeCoulis Mims could be another player that we could look to move off of, saving, I want to say, about $4 million, or 2, excuse me. But theoretically, these are players that we could look to move off of. My issue, though, is that I don't think we can really afford to do so. I do think we're pretty set across the board in terms of starters. We have our corners, we have our safeties. You throw Corey on this side. You know, in reality, running back's a need, right guard's a need, linebacker could be a need as well. But, you know, with only $14 million, I just don't see myself trying to make any sort of moves right now. So I might try to make some depth moves, but this offseason, unfortunately, has to be mostly the draft, and we only now just got 2 fourths. So, and here are the signings in around the league. James Orr, top safeties, going to the Chargers. Chargers pair him up with a top pass rusher as well. Denver goes after a new quarterback. Seattle brings in a top defensive tackle. The Browns go with the veteran quarterback Nick O'Neal here. As around the league, Darren Law is going to the Detroit Lions, trying to become a top running back there. And we see Deion Johnson here going to the Lions as well. So 2 of our players going to one team. And then let's just go by age here and see if I recognize anyone else. So far, not really. So let's get into the draft, ladies and gentlemen. As we've made it to the NFL draft, you guys see the top prospect, like Max Brown, as a first round, or a top 5 projected player, or talent, excuse me. Ezekiel Phillips, is a first-round guy who I really like. He's a good guard. And Junior Ochiltree, corner. We also know he's a first round. Ezekiel Phillips is probably my favorite player to try to draft. It makes the most sense for us to do so. Max Brown, we could try to go get him. I thought he was the best quarterback of the class, and he very much is. But again, you had the best overall quarterback for 2 seasons, what, with Max Brown? At most, what could that get you? I don't know. So, how I want to play out this class is I want to get to a position where I feel like I could trade. We're at 25. I want to see how the draft board goes until 15. So, well, I accidentally misclicked, and I think we're okay. We're at our selection here at 25, and Ezekiel Phillips is there. Absolutely gonna take him. No hesitation. He's a first-round caliber guard, where in my opinion, we just drafted our new starter, ranked 6th in the class, hidden development as well, solid enough athlete. And this is the type of selection we need if we're not gonna be making any sort of decisions in terms of free agency. We need this type of talent. We're gonna take Percy Curtis here in the second. Just trying to get some starters on this team. And ranked currently 30th in the class. And I didn't see if he was hidden development, but who knows? Either way, good selection there. We're gonna take a running back here in Michael Henley here. Just trying to add as much talent as we can. Ranked 28th in the class, normal dev, 89 speed. And now we go into the 4th round with 3 selections. Rodney Haynes here, corner will be the pick. He's a slot archetype. We get a little cut scheme here. And he's ranked 18th in the class with hidden development. So, starting off with our first 4th round pick is a success, I think. I'm gonna take a blocking tight end here in Scotty Nicholas here. Hopefully can come in here and be our 3rd tight end. And he's ranked 59th in the class. He also has hidden development and 79 strength, but he's a blocker. So either way, I don't expect too much. Going back to the well of running back here and Rod Archibald. He's another power back. Get another cut screen for him. Ranked 17th in the class. So I think we got 2 quality backs here in the 4th. Very happy with our selections. Antonio Elliott here, wide receiver here in the 5th. Just trying to add some depth. Ranked 104 in the class. So helping out the depth at receiver. Thomas Knox here, a free safety, will be the selection. Just trying to find some really quality backups here. Rank 314, not the best pick. Jonathan Capps here, a left tackle, will select with our final pick. Rank 267, normal dev, 84 strength. Not a bad draft. I think we hit on our top picks from the 4th to from the 1st to the 4th. What do you think of the draft, ladies and gentlemen? I think we nailed it again. Ezekiel Phillips here can step in day 1 and be a starter. And he's gonna have to be, really. And I think we nailed that selection. Coming back in the 2nd, taking Percy Kurtz, who also comes out as hidden development. He's a run-stopping linebacker, so he'll play mostly in our base defense. I like that pick as well. Then coming in here, getting Michael Henley here, a power back, with a bit of elusiveness. I like that. Does not catch the ball particularly well. And don't forget this, guys. We decided really not to do much of anything at the running back position because we couldn't. So our drafting 2 backs really helped. Rodney Hayes here, a slot archetype corner. Coverage is not the best, but he can tackle. It's good hit power for a corner. So, you know, probably our 4th guy on the team. Then Scotty Nicholson here, a blocking tight end, also hit in development. 81 speed, 79 strength. Good blocker. He also has solid hands to start off, so you know that's not bad at all. Ron Archibald, another power back, and same type of skill set. Can catch the ball a little bit better. And then we got a wide receiver in Antonio Ellington here, a playmaking 6'6" running or receiver. I've been drafting these guys again. 99 juke move. When I see a 6'6" receiver, almost always I want to draft them. Then drafting a safety here in Knox and Cap here, both in the 60s. Overall, very good draft class for us. Now, obviously, you know, Ben Carter, we didn't have an opportunity to select, but Max Brown here went a few picks before us, normal dev. So the only way that Max Brown really would have made some sense if he came down with hidden. And yeah, these are great ratings to start off with. Hopefully he's a starter here for the Chargers, but it just did not make a lot of sense for us to be going in that direction. It really didn't. You know, we got one of the better players across the board, you know, and all of these guys we really did not have an opportunity to. So, I think we got the best player at the best position that we possibly could. Ron Landry would be the fun player to go get, but, you know, 91 speed, he's a sideline to sideline linebacker again, but drafting the lineman makes a lot of sense. Let's get into year 19, ladies and gentlemen. As year 19 is about to kick off, ladies and gentlemen, and here's the roster. You got Will Brittley at quarterback, Brandon Meredith at running back, Cameron Hayden as your number 1, your number 2, and Kevin Taylor. You got Bobby Summers, a very good to quality offensive line, adding Ezekiel Phillips through the draft. Defensively, you have a front 4 led by Darren Smith, Colbert, Wilkins, and Dave Lee here, with a secondary that has so much depth. A linebacking room that is very good with Corey, Mims, Curtis, Codwell, 2 very good safeties. Throw on top, we brought back Tremaine Weston. This team is still really good. I know the offensive line we don't have 3 top end linemen, but I don't think we need it. I know we really only have 1 top end playmaker in Hayden, but Taylor, I think, will develop throughout this season. Summers will continue to produce. I think we have running backs and led by Meredith that can really do some damage. And we have a pass rush on the edge that's very good, a secondary that's good. What's not to like about this team? We have year 19 about to kick off here versus the Rams here. After this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more. This is one of our last chances to do so. And this could, in theory, be our last one as we start off the season 2-0 with a running back breakout opportunity. Brandon Meredith has popped a lot of these throughout his career. And it looks like he wants to do it again. So he needs get 2 total touchdowns for his development trait. So absolutely in short yardage situations. But, you know, I don't know how much more regression Will Brittley will have as we lose this game here to the Commanders and the breakout opportunity here for Meredith. But I don't know how good Will Brittley will play this season, and that will determine a lot of things for next year. And so it looks like Brandon Meredith did not get his superstar increase. That's okay. But like I said, we're kind of saying to ourselves, Brittley's our guy for the remaining of this rebuild, as he just threw 5 touchdowns. Colbert just got 4 sacks. We're off to a hot start here as we're 3-1. coming off of a major victory. We have $118 million to work with. Josh Wilkins, Will Brittley, Michael Dorsett, Darren Phillips, Mason Corded, Deion Fitzpatrick, Cameron Wall, and then depth on this team. This is going to be another challenging free agency because we're going to have to decide, do we want a top center to stay on the roster? Fitzpatrick, I said at the beginning of this episode, we could afford to lose, but you have Mason Colby here, who is, you know, definitely absolutely worse than Cameron Wall, but younger, probably will get some more development here, and is way cheaper. And then you have the big four here in Darren Smith. Do we look to extend him? Michael Dorsett doesn't want to be here, but, you know, do we let Fitzpatrick test, or do we let Dorsett test? Who knows? Will Brittley wants a 2-year, you know, basically $82 million. If we give him this contract, we couldn't really afford it. I assume the tag would be close to $70 million up front. So regardless, quarterback is going to be a major question. And Josh Wilkins here, he wants about $20 million a season. So this is going to be tough. So far, we see that Cameron Hayden is playing like a top receiver through the first month of the season. Will Brittley producing. Running game, Meredith is leading the way. Should have just gone to him when we could have. Cameron Hayden doing his thing again. With JJ Jackson supporting Kevin Taylor, kind of having a sophomore slump. No, don't really want to see that. And this offensive line is struggling, other than the rookie. Defensively right now, we see Colbert with 5 sacks already, Darren Smith with 4, Brian with 2, Josh with 1, and 3 interceptions as well. Think some of these moves we're going to make later on. I'm going to sim ahead to probably right around week 9. As we've made it to week 9, here we're 5-3. We've been trading wins and losses. We're not a bad team, but we're not a great team just yet. We are still the 3rd seed though, which is nice to see, but Seattle and the Rams are right behind us. Tight-knit division again. So, man, let's look at the stats. Will Brittley, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, continuing to play like I expect him to. Brandon Meredith, 300 yards and 8 touchdowns though. Struggled to run the football so far this campaign. Kevin Taylor starting to produce a little bit better. JJ Jackson has 5 scores. You know, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Wow. Colbert here with 5.5, Smith with 7, Josh with 4.5. I don't think it makes much sense for us to be letting a player like Josh Wilkins be a decision at the beginning of the next episode. I want to give him this 3-year deal. He signs, leaving us with 93. I think everyone else, I can make a decision later. $93 million, you know, we will have enough money to bring back at least 1 or 2 of these guys. So I'm going to sim along here. I'm not going to make any trades. We're just going to move along here. As we made it to week 15, we see ourselves as an 8-5 team. So far, we are currently the 4th seed, still a very tight-knit division. But I don't think we're definitely not going to be winning the conference. I think Washington has kind of solidified that for themselves. For us, we're just trying to guarantee us making it into the postseason. Will Brittley definitely having a much better season, touchdowns to turnovers, but it has slowed down a bit. Running wise, Brandon Meredith has shown up a bit. We're seeing the rookies kind of getting some more carries. Cameron Hayden leads the league in receiving yards, but after that, Not much of anything here for our playmakers, which is unfortunate to see. Offensive line, Jamal Morgan, who basically had a redshirt rookie year, injured his second, and now he is struggling. And that is just not a sight that you want to see. DeCoulis Mims playing well. Colbert here with 14 sacks. Smith with 9. Brian with 8. Josh with 5.5. We extended him, and Deion Fitzpatrick having a 5 interception campaign. Wow. Simply wow. Well, we got 4 more games to go. We are definitely in line of making it into the postseason again here in year 19. But we have back-to-back losses, just losing to the Rams, and that could force us just to be a wild card team. And now we lose to the Saints, 28-27. 2 losses in a row, putting us as the 8th seed or the 7th seed right now. Could we be missing the postseason this year? We have lost 3 straight, putting us as the 9th seed. Oh my God. 1 more week to sim. Are we in the postseason here in year 19? Or are we going to be forcing year 20 to be so critical that we must win it all? And we lost 4 straight, ladies and gentlemen. We lost 4 fucking straight to knock us out of the postseason. You know, we had an 8-4 record, and you know, I simmed us to right to this point here, and we saw these 4 games. We went on a 5-game losing streak to end this season, and basically end a lot of hopes and dreams. I mean, guys, we now have 1 more episode where we could go out there and win the championship. And well, we have 1 more shot, really. But this is the issue: is it Will Britley? You know, like, can we afford? We can afford to keep the team, but not the team and the quarterback. We know regression's gonna hit. We know that, and I don't know if this. I don't know about this draft in terms of drafting a quarterback. I didn't really see much when I looked at it briefly. And Will has threw 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's not a bad season whatsoever, guys, but it's not a season of elite. He hasn't been an elite in the last 3 seasons. And am I again just so just focused on the fact that he was elite during these years? I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I don't know if the tag is again in play. Again, we could not run the football whatsoever. It was a struggle. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Cameron Hayden did everything he possibly could, but it's just not enough. Kevin Taylor, sophomore slump for us. Bobby Summers had a much better season. You know, JJ and Marcus here tried to be our 3rd receiver, and they kind of did. It is such a tough pill to swallow. The offensive line started to get shaken up by the end of the season. Not injured-wise, just play-wise. Defensively, we had probably one of our better defensive seasons in terms of getting pressure. I mean, we had our defensive line had 2 guys over 10 sacks, almost 10 for Brian here, and 8. That's huge. Our defense made the plays, we just could not finish. I doubt that we're gonna see much of anything on the Cardinals end in terms of these awards. Maybe for defensive line and number 2 for us, but that is not good whatsoever. And is this going to be the career stats for us and Will Britley? Over 50,000 passing yards, 414 touchdowns, 88 interceptions. The kid from Arizona produced very well here in the desert. Just could not get us over the top. He's also our leading rusher on the roster. Wow. Brandon Meredith, 1,600 yards. We need to find a great back. Cameron Hayden, as the torch went from Marvin Harrison Jr. to, what's his name? To Ray Rayfield, to Cameron Hayden. I would say Wade probably had the best career out of the three receivers, but Cameron Hayden definitely is up there. Bobby Summers, I would say just from a longevity perspective, because we let McBride go, and then I think we immediately got Bobby Summers, and throughout his whole career, he's been consistent. Kevin Taylor, I think this is an excellent start to probably drafting early receivers. Kevin Taylor is probably the best so far, even with only 3 touchdowns in his career. J.J. Jackson providing a bit. This offensive line, we could be seeing a player like Cameron Wall go. One of our best players I ever drafted were these two. But I don't know if we're going to be keeping them around long term. Defensively, DeCoulis Mims had another fantastic season. Darren Smith, we could see him test as well. Colbert here starting to kind of look like our next Elijah Fletcher. Over the last handful of seasons, he has produced very well. You know, we traded for him from the Chargers. 2 solid seasons, earned that contract, had a down season, but continues to produce year in and year out for us. And then secondary, Tremaine Weston, didn't really see much of the field, but he's on our team now again. After 2 years bouncing around, Deion Fitzpatrick. Wow. I don't know what to say, guys. I feel like maybe for these last 5 or 6 seasons, we've been kind of just going through the emotions and trying to just improve in any way that we possibly can, and we just bang our heads against the wall. You know, every single year, no Pro Bowlers at quarterback, running back. Hayden gets in at receiver. Daniel Huff makes it in. Cameron Wall. Colbert gets in. Smith gets in. Wow. Fitzpatrick gets in as well. And I think that will be it. Our punter got in as well. I mean, we made the Pro Bowl list. Very nice for us. But now we're just, what do we do? You know, I thought to myself, if quarterback Will Britley could make it back to the Super Bowl or make it back to the playoffs, we would have a legitimate chance. And before we go into this, Seattle just blew out the Bills 44-17. MVP is Devin Burtz here, a corner for Seattle. But guys, I think we're in a position right now is what do we realistically think that we can do with Will Britley? I mean, you know, he's now, what, 34 years old? Maybe his contract has gone down, and that could just justify and fix everything. But regardless, over the last 3 years, you can't ignore the fact, as yes, he has not been turnover prone. He hasn't thrown over 30 touchdowns. He just threw his lowest amount of yardage in a season. Or second lowest, excuse me. You know, he's been sacked countless times, 40 times. I think this is one of his worst seasons in terms of completion percentage. One of his worst seasons for yards per game. I mean, it's just, you know, we can't keep the team and him. So what's most important? We do see Ezekiel Phillips comes out as superstar dev, which is nice. Same thing here with, actually no, Scotty Nicholson here is an X factor. The blocking tight end that I drafted. Hey, you know what? We could always use another X factor on the team. Defensively, I mean, you know, you have Darren Smith, who do you let test? Do you let him go and say we constructed an excellent defensive line? I don't know. This is going to be a tough off season. A lot of major decisions need to be made. And with $80 million, Will Britley wants a 1-year, $68 million. So if we made it a 2-year, it would just be a give or take about 137. Regardless, it would just kill the rest of our cap. Michael Dorsett, none of these guys, you know, now Darren Smith doesn't want to come back, but he wants a 1-year, $34 million. Wow. This is tough. And we might lose a lot of depth. We might even lose our starting fullback. The fuck? Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We have one more shot, ladies and gentlemen. And next time we'll look at retirements. Guys, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.